Hey, aren't you Breakfast Bot from episode 83?
Breakfast Bot was fail. I have been repurposed. I am now CopyBot. I am a state-of-the-art copywriting machine.
Oh, really? That's great, actually, because we need some fast content about the future of digital marketing.
Excellent processing. Output ready. Task complete.
This is factually correct, but it's totally lacking any emotional impact. I'm afraid we can't use it. It just won't be effective with our audience.
Not total fail. I am experiencing my first emotion.
Oh, what?
Rejection.
Mark, you wanted to share with us a content marketing myth that you wanted to bust. What is it?
Eric, the myth is that business content, especially business to business or B2B content, should be devoid of any emotional impact.
That's a myth? Don't business people expect serious content that doesn't waste their time?
Well, of course they do, but here's a key. Business people are still people.
Shocking. That sounds obvious, and at the same time, hard to believe.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's true. Business people don't hang up their humanity when they go to work, and that includes when they're reading or viewing content. So here's the second key. Emotional hooks are just as effective in business content as they are in any other content. In fact, I think they're essential if the content is to have any impact.
Explain what an emotional hook is.
So sure, an emotional hook is the thing in your content that captivates and moves your audience. It makes them sit up and take notice. It's often what moves them to take action on your content, or to share it, or to link to it, or do whatever with it.
Ah, but you called it an emotional hook. Where do emotions come into it?
It's called that because it works in the reader or viewer at a deeper level than the rational. Now, we all like to think that all of our decisions and actions are based purely on rational evaluation of the facts, the arguments, but research shows that actually a good deal of that happens at the emotional level of our brains. In other words, we aren't fully conscious of why we make a certain decision, but once it is made, our rational mind rationalizes it. It comes up with logical, valid reasons for the decision.
Okay, so what does that actually look like in content? How does a hook work?
So let me answer that with an example from one of our most shared and most linked to pieces of content. Our study of the effect of Google's first mobile ranking update, popularly known as Mobilegeddon, on mobile search rankings. Now, on the rational level, this content is pretty cut and dry. We knew Google was going to release an update that they said would potentially cause non-mobile friendly sites to lose rank and mobile friendly sites to rise in rank.
Right, so we took a snapshot of the top 10 results for over 15,000 queries before the update, then looked at the same set of queries after the update was in place. We found that almost 50% of the non-mobile friendly sites in our test set dropped in ranking after the update.
So those are the facts. But once we had that data, we quickly realized we had a significant hook.
I think I know what that was. We showed that the conventional wisdom across the industry that Mobilegeddon had very little impact was wrong. Very wrong.
Exactly. And that's a hook because it causes a visceral reaction in the reader. Most of our readers had probably seen the many articles and forum discussions saying that Mobilegeddon was a bust, a false flag from Google, a dud. And of course, because we were aware that our contradiction of that was our hook, we mentioned all that conventional wisdom in the introduction of our article to make sure that all our readers would catch the strong contrast.
So, when they hit the results of the study, they had this holy smokes moment.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was at that holy smokes moment that the emotional part of their brain moved them to take some action. It said to the rational part, "This is news. You've got to share this. You've got to link this from your site. You got to tell everybody about it. You got to put it in your own content."
And boy, did they ever. It's now been shared over 4,000 times on social media, and it's got a lot of links, including some from major publications, such as the Wall Street Journal.
Now, I'm not going to claim that having a good hook was solely responsible for the success of that content. I mean, we still needed to have great content. In this case, a carefully prepared and executed data study. and good execution. That is, the content had to be presented in an attractive, inviting, and easy to digest form. But when you have a good hook, an emotional touchstone in your content, it can be like pouring gasoline on a campfire. It can really make things take off, make readers take notice.
I'm betting, though, that most content producers give little or no thought to a hook for their content.
Probably right. And many of them are probably unaware it even exists. But on the other hand, a really good content producer often includes a hook instinctively, even if she couldn't tell you exactly what it is. But if you are aware of the power of the emotional hook, it will change how you prepare and present your content. You don't usually need to come right out and say what it is explicitly. But in fact, it's probably more effective if you don't do that. But if you know what your hook is, you can craft your content so that it naturally and effectively leads the reader to find the hook themselves.
Thanks, Mark. Can you recommend a good resource for understanding how emotional hooks work and how to implement them in content?
Boy, I've got a great one, Eric. As a matter of fact, it's a slide deck by Hannah Smith called Right in the Feels, How to Create Content That Gets Shared, and I can't recommend it enough. Go check it out at the URL on your screen now.
Wonderful. Looks like we're ready to wrap this episode up.
Eric, before you go, I do need the copy for that Future of Digital Marketing article as soon as possible.
No worries. I think I have a solution for that. Hey, Copybot. I heard your software has been updated to include emotional hooks in your copy. So let's give you another try. Copybot, give me an article on the future of digital marketing.
Input, receive, processing, generating output.
Wait, that's too much emotion. You're overdoing it.
Downloading new emotion, emotion engaged. Activate anger.